This morning's scripture is from Exodus chapter 33. This will be the last time we're in Exodus for a while. Exodus chapter 33, beginning at verse 12. Moses said to the Lord, "See, you have said to me, 'Bring up this people,' but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, 'I know you by name,' and you have also found favor in my sight. Now if I have found favor in your sight, show me your ways, so that I may know you and find favor in your sight. Consider too that this nation is your people." He said, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." And he said to him, "If your presence will not go, do not carry us up from here. For how shall it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people, unless you go with us? In this way we shall be distinct, I and your people, from every people on the face of the earth." The Lord said to Moses, "I will do the very thing that you have asked, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name." Moses said, "Show me your glory, I pray." And he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and will proclaim before you the name, the Lord. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. But," he said, "you cannot see my face, for no one shall see me and live." And the Lord continued, "See, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock. And while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." Back in the early 1960s, there was a Methodist minister who decided or felt called to be involved with the movements for peace, for justice, for equality in the world. And his father was proud of his son for being a Methodist minister and was proud of his commitments. But he said, "Now, son, you be careful. Don't get too far ahead of us, or we might mistake you for the enemy and shoot you." That's always the challenge in the art of leadership, especially when the situation is new, when there are so many things that are at work, when you have to adapt. Adaptive leadership challenges exist. And the leader is always in tension. Moses has been called to be a leader. From the very first, when he is approached in the sign of the burning bush, when God says, "I need you to go back to Egypt and tell the suffering slaves in the brickyard that I intend to free them. And tell Pharaoh that I intend to free the people he has enslaved. And Moses says, who's going to believe that? How can that be a vision? That they don't know anything about freedom or being freed. And Pharaoh doesn't know anything about freeing people. Pharaoh knows about enslaving people. He doesn't know anything about freeing people. That is a leadership task that cannot be accomplished. It's a good argument. And God's response is, I will be with you. I'll be with you. That's all he gets. I will be with you. He doesn't say, this is how you change people's minds. I will be with you. And over the period of 10 increasingly difficult plagues, the people begin to see the possibility of freedom. And Pharaoh reluctantly sees the necessity of freeing, though he changes his mind. And Moses is out in front of the people, and now they're at the sea, and they say, you know, they could have killed us back in Egypt. What's going on? And there's a deliverance. And then they're out of food. You know, you could have killed us back in Egypt. And there's food. Then they're out of water. You know, you could have killed us back in Egypt. And there's water. And now they get to the mountain that they've been sent to. The mountain where they were to worship. Way back, Moses said, I'm going to take the people out to the wilderness to worship. And they get instructions on worship. They're reminded, I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt. That's the God. You have no other gods before me, before this God. No images. God is moving. God is the God who leads them out of Egypt. God is a verb. Moses says, I need to know your name. And God says, I am who I am. It's a verb. It's not a noun. With a noun, you can create a picture, an image. But God says no images. And now the people are afraid for a different reason. The power of God becomes clear to them, and they say, no, Moses, don't let God speak to us. You speak on our behalf, and we'll listen to you. So Moses goes to speak with God. And the people get anxious. What happened to Moses? What do we do? They approach the leader in Moses' absence, Aaron. And the force of the Hebrew is they ganged up on him. They said, Aaron, we don't know what to do. And Aaron says, let me give the people what they want. Leadership means keeping the people with you, but it does not mean, or does not always mean, give the people what they want. But he says, I may be so far out ahead of these people, they're going to mistake me for the enemy and shoot me. So let me give you what you want. And a calf is cast. And though they'd heard no images, now there's a calf, there's an image, there's something the people can hold on to. And they begin to celebrate and revel. And God sees, and God is displeased. I just told them, no images, and now there's an image. And then it's Moses who has to speak up and say, you know, God, these are your people. You brought them out of Egypt. They're yours. He is the leader who speaks up for the people. He is annoyed with them too. He's often been annoyed with them. He's called them stiff-necked. I used to say to Lynette sometimes, why is your son so stubborn? And of course I know the answer, his last name is Altman. But sometimes you get a little put out. This time it's God who's put out, and it's Moses who speaks up and says, no, they're not mine. They're yours. You brought them out here. You can't stay here and send us on to the promised land. The goal wasn't to get to Sinai. The goal was to get all the way to the promised land. That was the vision. And if you don't go with us, we'll just stay here too. I know about how to herd sheep around here. We'll just stay here. He advocates for the people, but he needs a vision. And God says, I'll give you a vision, but you only see my back. When you see my back, I'm going to be moving. God is moving. God is keeping people headed toward the vision. God is keeping Moses focused on the vision, but also he's connected to the people so that he doesn't get too far out ahead of them. He doesn't leave them where they are. He doesn't give them what they want. But he keeps saying, come on with us. Our God is a God on the move. We're going to keep adapting. We're going to keep figuring it out. We know the goal. And we'll keep moving. It's always hard. Any leader who takes on the responsibility will know the weight of it. Any leader who takes on the responsibility will know their own limitations and may think maybe you should pick somebody else. But if God gives the vision, we keep moving and keep connecting so that we don't just stop and we don't get so far out ahead we get mistaken for the enemy and shot. It's the vision Moses needed, the vision the people needed to keep moving on toward the goal.